Live from LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
I'm wrong.
What?
I'm wrong.
Nuh-uh.
Learn more at Columbia Gas.
Or the way you said, don't reveal it because you're going to ask a question. And the question is a simple question.
I always start the video with, now I had that on I got more than any other video. I was giving a fair warning. You never know what's coming out.
The mutual fund store gives you out of your Social Security benefits.
Although I have
And we're hosting a free live event this year. This event, Maximizing Your Retirement and Social Security Benefits, will be held on Thursday, May 12th. Whether you are planning for retirement or already retired, you'll learn how to optimize Social Security with your other retirement benefits to help you increase the odds that your retirement savings will last a lifetime. Join us on May 12th for our exclusive live event, Maximizing Your Retirement and Social Security Benefits. The event is free, but space is limited, so call 614-717-0707 to reserve your seat now. Or visit mutualfundstore.com and click the free live event section on the homepage. With a mutual fund store on your side, Social Security benefits are no sweat. You work hard for your money. Let us show you how to help it work hard for you.
News, traffic, weather, stay connected and informed. News Radio 610 WTV.
Derek, you know we got the right time right there. That's some of the things that I did. I didn't do exactly that. That's good. But I corrected it.
That's because you can't find YouTube videos on how to fix it.
Yeah, you can actually.
The only other thing, this is more
Hey, I had one. Somebody
professionalism because there's so many of us. I usually, like, when Dad wants to call me, kind of do one of these. I kind of direct traffic a little bit. Otherwise,
And they had half of it done. At first I started out trying to put the other half together, and then I realized the first half was wrong. So they're completely apart. There was no video, but
His lunchtime speech delayed about an hour. The front runner telling the audience getting inside was like crossing the border. More political rallies this weekend will be tied to International Workers' Day or May Day tomorrow, with anti-Trump activists demanding equality for immigrants. In Birmingham, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
There's also a big focus on Indiana, where that state's primary Tuesday for President Bill Clinton. Look, I know the Republicans
sitting there and
it's been fairly effective.
that's our church. I haven't seen it in a couple weeks, but I'm not going to buy that.
You ought to see,
I
and you
wouldn't
would
either.
too.
I hate buying parts and then getting
This is what they do. They decide who they don't want to run, and then they dump on them like crazy. Clinton was holding a pre-primary pancake breakfast. A 64-year-old woman and her 4 grandchildren have died in flooding in East Texas. This creek overflowed its banks, flooding a neighborhood in Palestine as residents slept. One man had to be rescued from the roof.
Looks like year one class is going to be busy. There's all kinds of
What time are we on there, Campy?
Police Captain James Muniz, at least 6 homes were severely damaged.
Well, I can be on at 6 after, but if you can do away with all the commercials in the show, that's usually what M does for us. All right. We will be ready. All right.
News Radio 610 WTVN Allison Wyatt. There was a high-speed chase on a Columbus highway yesterday. Jared Allen has more.
The reason
to the 100 miles an hour at times and reported by police as the woman in a Nissan Altima with Virginia plates tried to outrun them. The chase began just south of Columbus near Grove City at lunchtime and lasted for several hours. Deputies say she was flipping them off under that windshield. The woman wound up stopping at 71 and 11th Avenue near the State Fairgrounds where she was arrested. Serious crashes and injuries. Jared Allen, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Hundreds came together for a vigil last night to remember the 8 people killed in Pike County. The bodies of 8 family members were found on April 22nd at 4 homes near Piketown. The funeral for 20-year-old Hannah Gilly is today. The other funeral services are set for next Tuesday. It's National Drug Take Back Day today.
go away and stay close to him. You know
Well, I'm at a disadvantage out here without your.
I haven't known her in years.
Mike Robinson with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office says fire departments, police stations, and hospitals will be accepting the prescription pills.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm probably going to turn that down to this guy. All right. And Paul, count.
Paul.
Hey, Eric, what's the number to call?
614-821-WTV. All right, now I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous? Hey, you have the ability to add mics to that. I mean,
A headset? I think so. We should get an extra one. I don't know why we didn't.
I'm just thinking too about having something that I can throw out here for a guest.
I know. No, that's probably not a bad choice. What's that? I know. I don't know why.
State Street
Probably money.
closed between High Street and 3rd.
All right, boys, about 1 minute.
High Street closed between Rich and Broad Streets. Both of these closures will be in place till 2 o'clock today. Of course, it's because
Should I hook up?
Well, you can be like us pros and put it on the last second.
They usually drive me flipping crazy. They'll put it on as the intro music's playing.
I remember I used to give play-by-play at Michigan State. I haven't had these on in a long time. I like these.
And it makes it. I'll turn your mic on as soon as the music hits.
Yeah, just hacker.
Hi,
They always turn my mic off, you know, so just be careful they don't have you off, okay?
I'll turn you.
Okay.
I began exercising, but my lower back pain wouldn't quit. Even moving around the house was unbearable. It just brought me to tears. This was not how I wanted to live my life. I decided to stop planning my life around change. My doctor told me about food,
And they talk about how they want to save just one life and all these new gun regulations. Well, then why did they stop and frisk? Remember, they quit doing that.
Imagine what life could take you. Visit mycoolleaf.com and stop planning your life around pain.
CoolLeaf Cooled radio frequency treatment is a non-surgical outpatient procedure that targets the nerves that cause chronic back pain. Clinical studies have shown radio frequency provides patients up to 24 months of pain relief. Find a clinically trained physician at mycoolleaf.com. That's mycoolleaf.com. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor if CoolLeaf is right for you.
Live from LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. And there's that off mic there. Hey guys, unlike it at Target, here at LEPD, you use the restroom that corresponds to your plumbing.
Well, that's not the way we rehearse that, Eric. Not the way we rehearse that statement.
Yeah, you used a different word than plumbing.
Well, that's why you can go to the podcast, the video.
You have to use the technical word for it, okay?
The technical word, what is the technical word?
If you're born with the John Thomas, you use the men's restroom.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Well, we are the owners of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, is to always bring you the facts about the industry and ultimately help our listeners and our customers with the safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, guys, we have a special guest joining us from our friends over at WSYX6. I'm sure many of you saw the special investigative report this Thursday, actually this past Thursday by Tom Susi, had to do with what is potentially, not necessarily a loophole, but maybe an oversight into how Ohio administers its CHL license and how it defines reciprocity with other states. The report raised some valid questions, and we will talk to Tom in the second half hour about his experience. And if it's anything like the feedback he's getting on social media, it's going to be a nice heated discussion.
Right.
Yeah, so we look forward to that. Before that, though, and that's going to be at 1:35. Before that, though, JC at 1:20 will begin his hour of Gun of the Week.
It'll be good. It's a really interesting one this time.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I was impressed, and I'll give you the one hint. This JC even wrote this part of it. This handgun is responsible for more deaths than any other handgun in history.
Absolutely.
Is it one of those banned weapons on the governor's ban list?
No, it probably is.
Eric, I was one to guess that correctly before the show.
Did you really?
I guessed it was the Liberator. That we,
Oh yeah, that would be a valid
I
guess.
was wrong.
All right. So that's coming up at 1:20, and before that, though, if you want to jump in anytime, the number is 614-821-WTVN or 1-800-610-WTVN. Definitely follow us on Facebook. We put all the late breaking news, any sales out there, and YouTube channel worth watching. If you missed the shows, you can go out there and catch the videos of the guys. A lot of times the conversation between commercials and before the show are worth the watch. Did I put that nicely?
Yeah, we have to watch ourselves.
Right. If we want to get to a topic that we haven't addressed yet, you can give us a shout here at the store anytime or send us an email. It's OnTarget@lepd.com. Joining me today in the studio, JC from sales. JC, you know what? I was laying in bed last night. You and I were here late doing a little prep, and I couldn't get out of my mind the vision that you placed there of you in the early 70s, probably all suave, wearing a Walther PPK with a shoulder rig.
It was actually a Walther PP. I had the choice back then, believe it or not. Either one cost $94. I had my choice. I went with the bigger one, so it was great. But yeah, I think about that time. It was not a good time.
Yeah, I wish I would pay for a picture of you back then. You know, you probably had a cigarette in one hand, kind of cool.
I was a student. It was during the riots at OSU. That I was wearing
long hair or short hair?
Yeah. Oh no, I had long student hair from the
was it legal
1970. Hey, I was verge of being a prudent person. Back then, the law just said you had to be a prudent person if you were carrying. And I was counting on my blessings, or maybe if I got caught, I could convince somebody I was prudent. Probably not gone well. But,
especially if you're hanging out at the riots.
Yeah. I also have here to my left our director of training, Mark. Mark, is there a class you're not teaching today? I look at the schedule and holy mackerel, I think we have everything today.
We've got advanced stuff going on, we got basic going on, we got a CCW going on. Nope, it's a full schedule today.
Wow. Well, Ronnie, who makes that boom tactical, sitting here to my right. Ronnie, I'm a little heartbroken because as of 5 minutes before we went on air, you hadn't gone out and watched my debut on Good Day Columbus. No respect. And as we mentioned at the top, well, actually we have here my father Phil too. You know, I don't see you over there.
How can you forget?
I know.
It's weird.
I have no headset
normally
on, and it's kind of funny talking into this mic. I don't hear myself as well.
You used to do that for the first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Did you have a headset?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
For the couple years we've been doing this, he's always sat to my side. He's always been right there. Now I'm like looking across the table.
And I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit.
Well, as we said at the top of the hour, we have a special guest today with us, Tom Susi, who does special investigations for WSYX. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, I'm glad you invited me. Like you said, the investigation has really caught a lot of attention, especially on social media. So those people who've been commenting on social media for the past couple of days, here's your chance to take a shot.
Definitely. Pick up the phone, give us a call, and
so to speak.
Yeah, some may want to take a shot, so maybe I better be careful how I word this.
Well, and Tom, too, as I said before, this is the point where I give everyone a little grief, so sorry, you're a guest now. So I saw that Bill Kelly yesterday had the honor of being an honorary Big Bass Brother. I mean, on the iconic Corby and Joe Bradley show, and then you get us with OnTarget, you know?
I'd rather talk guns than fish, you know?
Well,
the Big Bass Brother. I know what they do, but it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And actually, you're now part of the Big Brass Brothers.
Yeah.
That's what So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Since we're the big brass brothers, when are you going to start paying for us to go have lunch?
There you go. That's true. That is true. Well, if you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast on WTVN.com. If you want to meet the guys, stop by the show throughout the week at 999 Bethel Road. We're also on iHeartRadio each week. So let's get to the news. I know we already have, I'm looking here, and we already have callers lined up. So
got a few of them.
Yeah, all right. But we're gonna jump on the news here real quick before we jump to those. Get to the news. Sponsored by Caltech. Caltech. I tell you what, guys, they're killing me here with these RFBs. And,
oh my goodness!
It is. They are absolutely beautiful, and there's still one left here at the store.
What?
Yeah.
There's one left.
It's for sale. Yeah.
Wow.
So. All right, what do you have for us there, Ronnie?
Well, the first thing I was going to bring up, and it's kind of trending right now, is Obama is unveiling a new gun control plan, and he's including smart gun requirements and more in this plan, which is, to me, seems pretty ridiculous. But he wants requirements and. With smart gun technology, and he wants law enforcement to try it out first.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous, because how many people have gone to, he says if you can't get onto a smartphone, why should you be able to shoot, how many here have ever had problems with the fingerprint technology on their phone?
I've had my cell phone fail, I've had my laptop, my desktop, I've had everything electronic fail. And when I was out in the field, the last thing I want is to rely on some type of electronic device to defend my life in a split second.
How about we outfit his Secret Service guys?
Exactly. They can start it, and if it works out for them, then we can.
And if it doesn't, well,
Because you know how resourceful criminals are. I mean, all you need is a little jammer in your hose.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's actually having the U.S. Army at Aberdeen Test Center conduct tests on this, and but also just this little significant word is like, we want to be able to track and keep track of these weapons. So there's just with this technology, this radio frequency, they can operate. They can also shut down at the push of a button. So.
Yeah, and he says that many gun injuries and deaths are the result of legal guns that were stolen, misused, or discharged accidentally. And once again, they use that saying that if you can only save one life, there's a lot of other things that you could do that would save more lives than this, like enforce the current existing laws.
Enforce our immigration laws, and that would probably cut down on most.
That would save at least one life.
That would save at least one.
What do you have for us, JC?
On that note, in the dispatch on Friday, they had an article saying homicides, not just gun deaths, but stabbings and being beaten to death at the golf club, were up last year in some of the major cities. Well, guess what? Baltimore, Maryland, where you can't own anything. Chicago and Washington, D.C. accounted for more than half of the total increase in homicides.
Wait, if we can't have guns there, then how are people dying? Because according to the politicians, everybody's dying because of guns.
Yeah, but this is just homicides, but you're right. And guess what? I mean, the states that have more of the guns have the lower homicide record.
That can't be right.
Yeah, so if they really wanted to save some lives, they would start passing some reasonable concealed carry laws in these states. So think about that, Hillary.
That's
truly, you want to save some lives if you happen to get in?
And it's truly, it's the good guys who are obeying the laws. We had a film crew in this week. One of the guys was from Chicago, had never touched, let alone fired a firearm before. And of course, facetiously, I said, that's just a little bit of the price you pay for having no crime there, right? And he laughed and stuff, but it's, the perfect example. It prevents some of the law-abiding citizens from being able to protect themselves.
And the groundswell of the public, this also just happened on Tuesday. Missouri House passed, this is the House in Missouri, backed constitutional carry. It passed 112 to 37. Now, constitutional carry just means there's no permit to carry either concealed or open. That passed in Missouri. People go, well, so what? Well, right now there are 10 states that currently have constitutional carry. It's permitless carry, whether it's concealed, whether it's open. Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Maine, Mississippi, Vermont, West Virginia, Wyoming. If Missouri goes that way, and at least it is in the House, that would be number 11. There's some other states, this is one that's really odd. Although Oklahoma doesn't have it, if you're a resident visiting Oklahoma that has constitutional carry, you can carry open or concealed in that state just because you're from one of these states. But we're talking a good number of states here. We have 10 now, working on 11 states out of 50. So this groundswell of people, sometimes I don't think the politicians are in touch. They're in the East Coast, and that's what they're thinking.
I can tell you
really
firsthand
understand what the public feels.
when Arizona passed that, when they did the constitutional carry, there was you could visually, through amount of calls for traffic and types of calls we were receiving, you could visually see a decrease in the violent shooting crimes.
Wow. And that's what the stats are pointing at, but they don't seem to get it. People do, politicians do.
When we come back after the break, we're going to get to JC's Gun of the Week. We're also going to, I know Tony is waiting on hold for us. We'll get to him as well. We're on target, broadcasting live today from LEPD Firearms and Range. Give us a call at 614-821-WTVN. We'll be back right after the break.
Weekend news. Traditional U.S.
You guys are smooth.
Not bad.
Before.
A couple times.
We got chemistry.
It works well. The only thing, we have connectivity issues sometimes.
UTVM. Brighten up your home with Sylvania light bulbs from Menards. Save energy and money by replacing your regular light bulbs with Sylvania LED bulbs. LED bulbs use up to 85% less energy and last up to 25 times longer than traditional bulbs. Right now, all stock Sylvania LED bulbs are on sale. A 4-pack of Sylvania LED bulbs replaces 60-watt incandescent bulbs and soft lighter daylight only $7.96. That's just $1.99 per bulb. Save energy and money at Menards.
DSL line, that's what
DSL line.
This weekend at the selection of guns, ammo, and shooting supplies. This weekend at the Special Ops Gun Show, Fairgrounds in Hilliard.
Oh, it's ugly as God.
Sound the alarm. We've got a jackpot. Prepare to take action.
1955. It's a model 1955.
NBC.
Everything's all right?
They sold us a record fire media company out of Channel 4.
And record fire, but look how
they came in and
it was a dagger.
melted guns. So
whoever they got flying for.
It's
okay.
Really?
Now what is that?
What is this?
A long time ago.
This is the
1955. Is that Tony still there?
This is exactly the same gun from 1910, just like this one. They wanted to go with a little longer barrel and 2 extra rounds. So in 1920, they came up with the 1910.
I'll probably go
Never really
Most of them got like the 91 30s or made 91, but so this variant
That's got a
came out
raised
in
sight.
1922.
Got a raised sight.
Yeah, but they probably wanted more for the military security.
Here, I'm sitting over at the hangar. Chopper Force Base OSU.
The first gun
was now
really
it's
close
over by
around the barrel. So
I'm sitting in the hangar. I'm like, okay, something will happen. And then the fax machine goes
And then just, you can just tell me
I got
manual safety.
or I was just like using
Disconnect, and it has the triple safety in 1910.
We had 2 pilots.
Yeah.
Their ship was ready to go 24/7.
So in 1922,
I had day shifts. I did the morning show, did the afternoon show.
Is that coffee, bro?
All right. How long till weather?
And then
this is the gun
the other
that's used
pilot
in
was
the
ready to go.
Oh, all right.
We had 2 backup pilots, so that worked. 6 hours.
At Mount Carmel, we understand that taking good care of you when you're well is as important as providing the best care when you're not. With you at the center of everything we do, the comprehensive network of primary care physicians and specialists at Mount Carmel work together to coordinate the care that's right for you. We also take the time to truly get to know you as a patient and a person. In the process, you'll get to know us. And with that powerful connection, we can work together toward a healthier you. To find your Mount Carmel physician, call 614-834-LIFE or visit mountcarmelhealth.com. Let's take care of today so tomorrow can be even better. Mount Carmel, because of you.
We're driving home from soccer practice, and it's pouring. The truck next to me kicks up the puddle right onto our windshield. At that moment, I wasn't getting a second chance to choose the right wiper blades. That's why I always used Trico wipers. The precision engineers perform on my vehicle. Trico wiper blades came through for me, right when I needed it most.
Trico wiper blades are available at Advanced Auto Parts, CarQuest, Mr. Tire, and O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. More information at wiperblades.com.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
It helps find job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
and will give someone in my community a second chance. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Remembers Prince.
For recreation, to change recreation, and to recreate.
Prince's along with some of today's biggest artists discussing Prince's influence.
He's the one that I looked up to and still look up to.
Prince Tribute Radio. Open the iHeartRadio app or listen at iHeartRadio.com.
From the Central Ohio Chevy Dealer Studios, get 15% off MSRP cash back on most 2015 Chevy vehicles. News Radio 610 WTVN, an iHeart radio station.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. Cloudy and cool. Rain moves in by this afternoon. High of 60. For tonight, on and off rain with a few storms possible late in the day. Low of 55. For Sunday, mostly cloudy and warmer. A few showers possible. High of 71. It's only 55 degrees on your severe weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
News Radio.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Derek. Joined today in our live studio at LEPD Firearms and Range. I have to my right Ronnie, who makes it boom boom tactical, JC from the sales team, Mark, our director of training, of course my father and co-owner Phil, and we have a special guest, Tom Susi from WS1. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Interesting conversations during the breaks. You've got a lot of characters to work here.
And you got to be careful too, because that's on the whole time.
Yeah, that makes me nervous. It's like I'm in church. I'm so afraid to do something in front of that camera.
I just thought of something. With Phil sitting where he's at today and using that mic, you don't have to wait for him to put his headset on anymore.
I know, it's actually been kind of nice. Well, we want to jump before we get to the gun of the week, wait to one of our callers who's been waiting. Tony, you are on with the guys from OnTarget. How are you?
Oh, doing great.
I'm hearing concealed carry permits and never had to execute done. And I would imagine most folks who go to get concealed carry are responsible gun owners and have already shot a gun before. But I'm just wondering, when to go get a concealed carry permit, because I do not have one, how much is involved in regards to the utilization of that firearm and basically understanding person's dynamics and how they are responsible gun owners.
You know, a lot of that has to do with the instruction that you get. Unfortunately, nowadays there's a lot of instructors out there that should not be instructing. But like here, we limit our class size and we will work with each individual so that we work with them so that they fully understand the functioning of the gun and how the gun works for them. We work with their grip, their stance. We teach a lot of practical here rather than what's in the textbook. So if you take one of our classes, when you leave here, we make sure that you are fully comfortable with the operation and you're in your best position, stance, and we take the time to work with you and not with the textbook.
And by Ohio law, a part of that is a few hours on the range, becoming familiar with it, which is needed. I mean, it's just the start, really. I mean, we would like to see it. Everyone take even more training just to become proficient. It's
be like somebody showing you how to operate a car without you ever driving it. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
One of the biggest things we push in our CCW is if you do nothing else, come back for at least the defensive one to learn the muscle memory skills needed, because you could be the best bullseye shooter in the world, but in a stress situation or an up-close personal situation, you won't know what to do.
Tony used the word propaganda. It's not propaganda. I got a concealed carry permit from the state of Arizona, Tony, and I never picked up a gun, never shot a gun, never saw a gun. and it wasn't required for me to do any of that, and I have it right in my wallet. I took a class right here in Columbus, and I have a permit to carry a gun, and I've shot a handgun maybe twice in my life, and I'm a horrible shot.
Right. Well, we can help you with that.
Well, you're going to. I definitely want to.
But I think the big point too, Tom, is that everything you did was legal. I mean, per the Ohio law, how it sits today, you did nothing wrong, you know? So
not at all. Like here's the question though: if Ohio has a law that says you have to have at least 8 hours training, two or three of that on the shooting range, and they allow people in Ohio to teach classes and get a gun permit from Arizona, where the training's not comparable. How does that happen?
What it is that it is a loophole that was overlooked, and now you have instructors that. These are the instructors I said earlier we shouldn't be instructing. These are guys that are looking at a way to make a quick buck. They're not interested in teaching someone how to safely carry a gun or how to respond in a situation. They're just looking at how to turn a quick dollar, and they're using this loophole in the law because Arizona doesn't require a CCW. So what they did was, let's say that I did law enforcement in Arizona for years, so I know how the system works there. If I wanted to travel to Ohio and I wanted to carry my firearm, Ohio recognizes Arizona, so what Arizona did was said we will give an actual card, because you don't need one there, but if you need to travel, you do. And then what happened was no one envisioned anyone stretching the law, or in my opinion, it's breaking the law. But to take that license and actually reside in another state and carry. And if you read Ohio's law, and I wish the Attorney General would be more vocal on this, Ohio's law says that you must be a resident of Ohio and a resident of the county or adjoining county you get your CCW in. So if you're carrying a license from another state, you're basically violating it. I would think that would be prosecutable. But
I wouldn't have a problem if somebody already had their Ohio concealed carry and then got in Arizona so they could have better coverage throughout the United States?
I do know that they're working on legislation because this loophole has been brought to lawmakers' attention, and I know a lawmaker that's working on it. And what he was saying was that if they had legal standing in that state, meaning property, work, some legal standing, then it would be upheld. Otherwise, it's going to be illegal. That's what he's working on.
All right. So this is a great lead-in to the second half, and actually, what we might do is jump to break here. JC, you might have to have a week of preparation here for this. Can you bring this back next week?
Oh yeah, not a problem. But it's a great. Think about that question. Which handgun is responsible for more deaths than any other handgun produced?
That's right. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Tom Susi from ABC6 about his investigative report about getting a CCW from Arizona. We're on Target, broadcasting live from LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back.
Great points. Those are great points.
All it is a loop.
Is this a larger caliber?
Living up to some of its
Yeah, this was the
There are some websites
Years
that
ago,
will convince you that when you get this did
Dennisonly.com restart.
Did you run today? How fast did you do it?
I didn't think about this until just now.
Wow, that's the half,
I like
right?
to come up with something where I can
You got
attach
$300 in your
a little bit of that tablecloth
So that's
and
13.6.
bring it out from here when we have a guest or something.
So 13.
You know, something that,
You're right. How many minutes was that? Like 8 minutes?
this is around the compressor. So think about it because
7 minute miles for 13
I could go out there
right now, not knowing how. Dude!
Well, I'm not sure. I think that if we would put another
Did you run in high school?
Absolutely. But it's something
What'd you
that I
run?
will think about.
I
But I also did sprint, so I was kind of all over the place.
Dude, that's pretty fast.
So if you have a memory, which
My
you could remember
my
things.
nieces
So all you have to do
did
is
it, and
remember
they were like
those
11 or
slides
12
and the
minutes a
answer
mile.
text,
So,
and now you're fine.
wow, that's very cool. Is that an award or just for completing?
They completed it. We can easily, they're heavy. Put 30, 40 people in the class.
I know.
Increase our
Hey,
ability.
sure. You could use that as some sort of weapon.
12 people.
Yep.
We have more than one. We don't.
Thank goodness you didn't have to run with that around your
The
neck.
NRA just said, guys,
That takes me a
one
second
size
less
is
mile.
all you want. This group. Real life shootings. Gun battle.
Germans?
If
The Germans captured this made Belgium, so they.
So what we teach, all right,
it was issued by a number.
Yep, I agree. When we come back, we're going to skip down to the week because of times. I think it's going to be a good conversation.
Language stands for you, knowledge books.
But it's low back design. It doesn't
books exist. Then
Yep.
you've got the guy.
So, dude, I was joking. I said, you know, we got 2 minutes here. It turns out.
All right, well, I'll just watch my text for calls. All right, how long will we back?
There was no fewer than 60 people.
All right, thank you.
And that's what they do. They rent these rooms in places. They run you through. They pocket the money.
Lifetime warranties on all repairs. To make it easier on our customers, we have a rental car company in all of our Fine Line facilities and offer free towing. Celebrating 20 years of experience, we have 98% customer satisfaction. Call 258-5555. That's 258-5555. Or visit us on the web at FineLineAutobody.com.
So if you do that, it was
Start saving today.
Using over 30 companies to get you auto rates as low as $19 a month. Call us now, 1-800-89-SOLID or solidinsurance.com.
Classic Piano is home to world-famous Yamaha. Is closing its showroom in Columbus near the Polaris shopping area, and the absolute final 2 days of the piano liquidation take place this Saturday and Sunday. Grands, baby grands, player grands, and Pavanova digital pianos are tagged at prices never to be seen again. But the lights go out forever, Sunday at 5 p.m. Credit cards accepted and financing still available. For information and final closing hours, go to ClassicPianosOhio.com. That's ClassicPianosOhio.com.
Chuck Nutter from Nutter Hardware and Rental here. For those of you considering investing in a big green egg, do your homework first by coming to Nutter Hardware and Rental in Arlington and seeing the big green egg process and extra commodity always has. Stop by Nutter Hardware and Rental and see for yourself the first-hand comparisons in quality, adaptability, accessories, warranty, and overall price when comparing the big green egg to the commodity. You might be surprised. Nutter Hardware and Rental in Upper Arlington is your one-stop barbecue shop.
Relax in your home in West Virginia's first sustainable home site community, overlooking the New River Gorge National Park. Lots start at $9,900. 8-acre creek view is $29,900. Enjoy fishing, hiking, bike trails, whitewater rafting, and ziplining. Live and play in the New River Gorge National Park. 2 to 48-acre parcels starting at $9,900. Call Wild Rock at 877-959-6650. That's 877-959-6650. The most popular artists of today. Watch them in the Diamond Cellar Vault. See your favorite artists now. Log on to 610WTVN.com. Click the Diamond Cellar Vault or use keyword vault. The Diamond Cellar, handcrafting new wedding rings for over 70 years.
Cheerleading equipment will be with me at Chuck Revenue's prices, but it would mean raising ours. Call 1-800.
From LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Gilbert.
Welcome back to On Target. We are broadcasting live from LEPD Firearms and Range, located at 999 Bethel Road. We're just west of 315. Before we get started, I had to give a shout out to my son who's playing in a tournament at Berliner. So go Lintangi Sticks baseball.
But he's playing. He can't hear you.
Yeah, but Mom can hear. Maybe she can yell from the sidelines.
Now, is he pitching today?
I don't know. I don't know. Usually I'm
great pitcher. Great.
Yeah. So we are joined today, as my father sits down here, my father and co-owner Phil, JC from the sales team, Ronnie, who makes a boom tactical, Mark, our director of training, and our special guest, Tom Susi from ABC 6. Special guest.
Can I just say one thing, Eric?
You can say two things.
Will you quit showing me these guns that you know that I like, that you get in on trade, and you know I like them?
What do you show you now?
It's a Smith & Wesson 2-inch barrel J-frame, you know.
Hey, we're 1 week from my birthday. I thought it was a hint.
And we're, 28 days from my birthday.
Oh.
That's a good point.
All right, you go.
Well, many of you may have seen Tom's special, the ABC6 investigative report that concerned concealed carry classes that are being offered right here in Columbus. And specifically, they're being offered with the purpose of getting an out-of-state CHL or CCW license without going through the process set forth in Ohio. And basically, as the law stands today, if you're an Ohio resident, you can get an out-of-state CHL permit from a state such as Arizona, even though their requirements are less than Ohio's, and with that in hand, you can legally carry in Ohio. And in this particular case, I think Tom went through a 3-hour class versus, and never touched a gun versus the 8 hours in Ohio. Now, let me preface this before we go any further that we are big gun guys here. The Second Amendment says it gives you the right to keep and bear arms. It says nothing about training. Constitutional right is that we're allowed to have firearms, and even in Ohio right now, you can walk down the street with a firearm on your hip, having never fired a gun, never touched a gun other than to put it in your holster, and you're perfectly legal.
Until you get in your vehicle.
Until you get in your vehicle, right.
Okay, Eric, I came prepared now. I just want to read the one sentence, amendment number 2, okay? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Right now you did it. You said some words in there that have now put you on the watch list. Way to go.
Way to go.
So, but as everyone knows, we're big on training here, and it's simply because we've seen what happens to good people when you're involved in a shooting incident, even if you're in the right. It is prudent to get training and better yourselves, and if you're in those scenarios, it helps you get through them and hopefully get you through them alive.
And we're not all police officers. I mean,
Right.
I'm a civilian or whatever.
Are you?
What would you guys?
We are still trying to figure that out, Ronnie.
You mean to your face or behind your back?
So the point of Tom's story was really to highlight that us as Ohioans, we have elected legislators who put into place a law that says we have an 8-hour mandated class in order to get your CHL license. What Tom highlighted here is that there's stuff going on out there that circumvents that. So whether you agree or not that there should be training in Ohio, that's just how it is right now. And what happened goes around that. So with that, Tom, tell us what you did.
Well, I'll tell you very quickly. Basically, I caught wind of something that was going on. There was a gun instructor teaching a class to get a gun permit from Arizona, a concealed carry permit. Now, here's what happened. I went to this conference room at a local hotel in Gahanna. Had to be at least 50 or 60 people there.
Wow.
There was one instructor. He gave a quick 3-hour course with about 2 or 3 little breaks. We saw some slides. We took a 10-question multiple choice test. We could use our notes. And if you passed it, and everybody passed it seemingly, you got some kind of certificate. Never saw a gun, never handled a gun, never required to go to the shooting range. Everything was processed right there. He had fingerprint cards, he had the envelope to the Arizona Department of Public Safety. He made sure you did the paperwork right, and then you put it in an envelope and you sent it to Arizona, and 60 days later I got my concealed carry permit. Cost me $60 to take the class, $60 to get the permit. Now I have the permit in my wallet, and I can pack heat, and I don't know how to shoot a gun.
Wow, wow. And you know what? And what allowed you to do that is the reciprocity agreement with Arizona. And we pulled, if you go out there in the ORC, it's 109.69, talks about reciprocity agreements, and it specifically says that Ohio honors those states that they have listed as if you had an Ohio one. And Tom, the thing that jumps out at me, a number of years ago, when CCW licenses were becoming popular, it wasn't uncommon for someone to have an Ohio license as well as an Arizona or Florida or Utah license, simply to give reciprocity to the whole country in case you traveled through it. So that wasn't uncommon, and honestly, I don't have a problem with that if you have an Ohio one along with the others. But nowadays, reciprocity is such that Ohio's reciprocity is very vast. And picking up an Arizona one probably wouldn't get you much, but this totally circumvents the intent, especially since you don't have an Ohio one either.
No, I don't. And if you talk to law enforcement or anybody else in that line of work, they're going to tell you that reciprocity is if I live in California and I have a gun permit, and we have a reciprocity with California, I can bring my gun and they recognize the permit. It's not about I can be a resident of Ohio and actually take a class and get an Arizona gun permit. I don't have an Arizona driver's license.
Right.
That's not reciprocity.
You have no legal standing in those states. You know, there's other states like Arizona. There's 3 states that do this, but you have no legal standing. So it is a loophole that people are taking advantage of. And I would say if a prosecutor wanted to, they could prosecute you.
Right,
because
right.
if you have no legal standing in Arizona, Florida, or Utah, then why are you carrying a weapon?
And that makes me wonder why. Why would you do that? I mean, the shooting part is the funnest part of the training, you know? Why would you skip that?
Right.
And not just get your own
Well, in our
life?
classes, we tell people to stay away from that, and we would never issue. We've been offered by all 3 states to include that in our packet, and we could make money, but it's not right, and I believe that it is on this very gray line with the law. I really do. I think you could be prosecuted.
Right. Here's an interesting story. So I'm sitting in this class, and there's this guy asking questions about, hey man, I caught a case the other day. I haven't been indicted yet. Can I still take this class and get a gun permit? The guy says, hey, if you haven't been convicted or indicted, sure. I'm not going to tell you this guy's name. He was indicted on marijuana charges, having a gun in a car, and bribing a police officer. And I am almost 99% sure he got that paperwork in before the indictment came down. And this guy has a concealed carry permit from the state of Arizona in his wallet right now.
Right, and I have no confidence that there is a database or something that Arizona says, oh, look at this now. When Sheriff Scott was in here last week, he said that he gets a report weekly of cases locally where someone is now
on the DV list,
right,
or,
on the list,
order protection list,
right, and so he pulls their license because of that. I can almost assure you that Arizona has no idea what that guy has now.
It will connect, but it will take probably a year by the time it connects through the database, the actual crime database. But let's say that there is a DV. There's no way for Ohio to know that immediately because that stays local.
Right, and is Arizona constantly running a report to see?
Nope.
No. Well, we're talking to Tom Susi with ABC6 investigative reporter. If you want to jump in on the conversation, 614-821-WTVN. Tom invites those personally who are commenting on his Facebook page, right, Tom?
Hey, they're all over. It's like hundreds and hundreds of comments on Facebook and social media. Calling me a communist and saying I was against the Second Amendment. Take your shot. Come on, we're right here. You got something to say? Give us a call.
Right. And then, it's funny because we went back and we researched this too in depth, and even in Ohio law, there's a line that says if you have a CHL license in Ohio and you move out of state, it's only good after that expires. Then that's non-renewable if you don't live in Ohio anymore. But obviously Arizona doesn't abide by the same.
A lot of different laws. I don't know who keeps track of them. Certainly, the officer on the street cannot. I mean, there's a lot of changes.
Right.
Did you guys have to fill out a questionnaire? Like, are you under indictment for anything? Do you do drugs, or was there any question form like that for you to fill out along with your fingerprints?
Yes, that was included with the fingerprints. You had to say all that, and and be forward about what was going on if you were convicted of a crime or anything like that. But this guy, this was an odd situation. It's a very odd situation what happened. And I don't think anybody knows he has a concealed carry permit.
Wow. Does he, did they talk very much about Ohio laws in your class? Because obviously, even if you have an Arizona license, you have to abide by the Ohio laws.
Ohio law is night and day different between, even if they went over Arizona law, it is nothing, it doesn't even resemble Ohio law.
So barely, vaguely. Everything was quick. There was quick categories, very quick categories, and you were done.
Wow. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussion with Tom Susi with ABC6 on your side. We're on target. We're broadcasting live from LEPD Firearms and Range. Give us a call, 614-821-WTVN. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing with social media too. I'm sorry. Here's the thing I noticed about social media. You get these people they're behind the
Absolutely. I'm an engineer.
Walking through a screen
I saw his post. Oh yeah. I said, why would I let you in my store if you're out there
Come on.
Yeah, I'll say it will, I'll tell you what, with carpeting.
So don't keep on
I said, but you're really not
Both of work on all of them.
unless you have more than one
because if you have
I'll
just
keep
one
it
of
off the
these
sports.
symptoms,
I call the big man behind the
that means your pancreas isn't making enough energy to break down the food you
I have no idea, I've been using scrap wood right now. I should buy the money on scrap wood, but the money that I'm getting, I'll buy
and take the
wood.
symptom
I think it should be
quiz.
okay.
That's identify
This here, there's the first ones I made have a little bit more grit, which I'm gonna use those, but this one here,
identify so learn more.
this tape that you buy to put on the staircase.
Non-slip, yeah.
And now this here,
I like
you
it.
buy to put on the rungs of the ladder. You know, but I was brought this out and saw this. I saw that when it came out. And I don't know how well it worked or anything, but one thing about this is that you can carry it.
All right, I'll
and if you want more, you know,
Nutter Hardware Rental in Upper Arlington is your one-stop barbecue shop. The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering
what would that get? 6 months? If you're in a non-reciprocity state.
Okay, so if you have, we'll recognize your license for a non-reciprocity state in 6 months, but after that time, then after 6 months after you become an Ohio resident, that form is valid. The law says you shall apply for a concealed carry license.
And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a one-hit.
What's the temp there?
So I would do security for them if someone's like
12 below.
a bunch of Teslas, and I'd just shadow security.
Eric, how's that time corresponding?
Okay.
Yeah. That's right on.
Is it?
I mean, right on.
What we do
This is the atomic clock punch.
Did you get that fixed then? Yeah, somebody up there?
Yeah, Zach, last weekend, last Sunday.
Last Sunday.
That's fine.
And he cleaned it off,
and we
too.
said, oh, I'll be in there somewhere and doing my those. Yep.
So is he going to come back and work
All right, I'll
once
just
he's
have
done
him
with football?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was asking how that clock time compared, Ryan thinks it's right on.
Right on. It is good. So we have a caller. I'm going to talk about leads and my cadence.
Is tonight, so don't wait. Get your Powerball tickets now. Bypass those long lines and buy popular lottery draw games, including Powerball and Mega Millions at any Ohio Lottery self-service machine. It's a fast, easy, and convenient way to play. Lottery draws are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Please play responsibly.
Well, I'm Mike Angel, the inventor of My Pillow. And like all of you out there, I have problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented My Pillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. My Pillow will give you a deep round sleep faster and you're sleep.
Oh, you didn't have
It's not about how much time you spend in bed, it's about how much you
John's like,
You bring that up. I'll fight your list.
Are you going to bring that up?
MyPillow.com or call 800-480-1941 or use the promo code.
You know which one does
That's 800-480-1941.
I don't think I have a
Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code IHEART.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. Cloudy and cool. Rain moves in. Looks like it's already started out there. Moves in by afternoon. High of 60. For tonight, on and off rain with a few storms possible late in the day. Low of 55. For Sunday, mostly cloudy and warmer. Few showers possible. High of 71. It's currently 56 degrees on your severe weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Traffic and weather.
I don't know where to start here, guys.
Yeah.
Need to get you a job at the station as a weatherman. You roll right through that forecast.
I know.
Another Bill Kelly.
I want to switch with Bill Kelly. You know, I tried to get Marshall to let me do the weather when I was there that one day.
You want to let you do it?
No, he said I could, but...
Well, come on back and do the weather.
All right.
Get you one of those old school pointer stick things.
Okay.
That could be interesting.
I told him the boys back at the store wanted to see me do the weather. So.
Yeah.
Well, we're on target. We're broadcasting live today from LEPD Firearms and Range. We have a special guest with us, Tom Susi from EBC6. He did a special report this week talking about how he was able to obtain a CHL license from Arizona, having never touched, let alone fired a gun before, and it's valid here in Ohio. So we want to go right to the phones. I know Joe's been waiting through the break. Joe, you're on with On Target.
Hi, guys. Well, I have a full Arizona license in Florida. I've had it for about 6 years now. And I was kind of confused when I got mine initially about the validity notice. And I actually talked to the instructor and everything, and talked to the sheriff that was there doing the fingerprinting about whether it was truly valid. And everything at the time when I got mine was completely legal and was not an issue due to the reciprocity agreement.
Right, and that's kind of what Tom found out as well. I mean, there's nothing at the moment that's illegal about it.
Yeah, it's totally illegal right now.
I'm not sure they know whether or not it's illegal. I mean, I think that's the issue. I really don't think the Attorney General's office understands what this mess is all about.
Right. Joe, out of curiosity, why don't you grab an Ohio one? Is it just because of the reciprocity that Florida allowed at the time versus Ohio?
Well, at the time, it was the time requirements for Ohio changed where it's a little less now than it was then. So there was a lot more training time involved, and the reciprocity, I had more states that I was able to travel to than with the Ohio license.
Yeah.
At the time, what I understood from Florida's license, it was not private records. If somebody wanted to do like they did in New York, to go through and find out who had these handgun licenses and use them as public records to try and shame gun owners, they weren't able to do that. So all my information was kept private, and I wasn't sure how Ohio handled that. So, and there was also a longer time frame. I think my license was 57 years versus 5 years with the Ford license. So it cost a little more, but it seemed like at the time kind of a better option for me personally. And it was legal, so I didn't not to.
Right, and like you said, it was nothing illegal about it, and
yeah,
it was more.
It was really common back there, Joe. Probably when you got yours, we had very common for people to come in and either get a Florida or a Utah license, and that seemed to give them more coverage than the Ohio license did, and that was way several of our instructors did that very same thing. Now the reciprocity is much wider with Ohio. Only 11 states don't recognize Ohio's CHL. So,
right. Isn't the spirit of reciprocity though sort of being taken advantage of? I mean, legitimate reciprocity was never meant for somebody to take a class here in Ohio and get a government in another state. It was a courtesy.
It was a courtesy.
Like a driver's license.
Right, exactly.
My driver's license is recognized around the country.
Right. Well, hey, thanks for the call, Joe. You know, something else too that we brought up during a break is that doesn't it, again, not passing judgment on whether it's right or wrong, but in Ohio we've said that if you have a CHL license, that goes into your BMV record. So if an officer is pulling you over or the vehicle that you own.
Every state has that.
Okay.
Every state.
So
if you pull someone over from Arizona, it's going to show on your background here also.
It will.
Yes, as soon as you tap in, because as soon as you run that plate, it actually hits Arizona's database.
Okay, so it's going to pull up, but I wonder if it will pull up with that same alert that it does here that you get. So
how about if they run my plate, an Ohio plate?
It won't hit on your Ohio plate. It will only hit when they run the name.
When they run the name. So again, it kind of circumvents what we as Ohioans have said is important. You know, so it's definitely something that should be addressed.
Yeah, you're onto something here, Tom.
I think it's an interpretation. I think it's something that's being loosely interpreted, and it's interpreted to someone's convenience.
And I like what you said on TV the other night about, there's supposed to be an equality. So if another state has certain requirements, we should have something that's similar. And having no handgun experience, I mean, 3 hours with no handgun experience and you get a license, that certainly isn't anywhere near the equivalency of what our requirements are down there.
And a lot of people that are listening are gun enthusiasts and have had firearms involved in their life from, one point to another. what they don't realize is there's a lot of people out there that don't, and I never realized it until I started working here and seeing some of the individuals in the range and their skill levels, and I realized.
Or lack of skill.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
how often do we see on the range the lack of skill, and they are
definitely a lack of skill.
Yeah.
I mean, we are constantly repairing damage to the range. People can't hit a target. They're hitting every place else but the paper.
And what you got to understand, if you're carrying a CCW, it's going to be in a stress event. So if you haven't trained for that, chances are you're not going to be successful. Plus, you own every round that comes out of that gun. So if you can't hit that target and you hit an innocent bystander, you own that.
Right, and Tom, you made the great point at the end of your segment. Since the training is up here in the head, a lot more here than here in your hands. So
different to shoot a target than a human being.
Right. Hey, thanks for spending this last hour with us. It's been great.
Appreciate it.
We look for more to come. We're on target, broadcasting live from LEPD Firearms and Range. We will be back next week, same time, same place.
I appreciate it, but I think it's important to just mention those people moving from other states. I think there's a bigger story.
Well, there are some websites that would like to convince you that with a few clicks, you get the best deal on new Hyundai.
At DennisHunday.com.
Good. That's exciting because that door drives me crazy.
I mean,
So I'm always moving that. I do, but it doesn't work. As soon as the door closes on it, it slides with the door.